Alright, we're looking at quadratic functions. This is the second of two videos, and we looked at how to graph a quadratic function in vertex form and also standard form. And here we're just going to practice finding the vertex axis of symmetry and determine whether the graph opens up or down. So this first one is in vertex form, so let me go ahead and write the vertex form right below here. And so you can see here the vertex is HK. So again, you could think of this as minus -6, but -6 is going to be the x value of the vertex, your h value, and k will be 3. Again, it's the opposite of the number here, and the same as the number here for the y. This is the x. X equals -6 is your axis of symmetry. And because a is positive, it's a half, this one opens up. So let's go over here. Again, you can see h here will be 8, and k is -2. The axis of symmetry is x equals 8, and this one opens down because of the negative in the front. A is negative. And basically, this is the most important information when you start doing a graph. The only other thing we didn't do is find a y-intercept, and then we can use symmetry and get a third point. So we could easily graph this from this point. But that's all we're doing for here, or for now. So these are in standard form, and so we're going to need to use the vertex formula to find the vertex, which is the most important point of the parabola. So here b is -8, so this is -8 over 2 times a, which is 2 here. That's going to be 8 over 4, which is 2. So we found the x value of the vertex. To find the y value, we just plug in 2 into the function. So be careful that you follow the order of operations here. You're going to square the 2. 2 squared is 4, times 2 is 8, minus 16, plus 3. Well, 8 minus 16 is -8, and add 3 to that, you get -5. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 2, and because a is positive here, a is 2, this one opens up. So I would encourage you to do number 4 and then watch the video. So again, we need to use the vertex formula to find the x value of the vertex. And so it'll be -4 over 2 times a. Notice a here is -1. So this is 4 over -2, and we get -2. So the x value of the vertex is -2, and if we plug that in, it'll be -2 squared minus 4 times -2 plus 5. So notice this is 4, any number squared is positive, but you make it negative because of the negative out front. So -4 plus 8 plus 5. That's going to be -4 and 8 is 4, plus 5 is 9, so -2, 9 is the vertex there, and x equals -2 will be your axis of symmetry, and this one opens down because of the -1. Alright, so let's move on to talk about maximum and minimum values. Alright, so it says find the minimum or maximum value for each function. At what value of x does the minimum or maximum occur? Well, this is a parabola that opens up because we have a positive. So you can see that we're going to have a minimum here. Where do we find the minimum value? It's going to be at the vertex. So we need the vertex formula. So in this case, it's negative 6 over 2 times a, which is 3. We're going to get negative 6 over 6, which is negative 1. And so the x value of the vertex is negative 1. Let's go ahead and plug that into the function to find the corresponding y value. Whoops, I'm making a mess here. Okay, so that's 1 times 3. 3 minus 6 plus 5. Well, that's negative 3 plus 5. We're going to get 2. And so this is a minimum value of 2, and that's when x equals negative 1. Now this is easy to find the vertex because it's in vertex form. Remember, it's the opposite, the x value is the opposite of the number here, so negative 3, and the same value that we have there. So that's the vertex. Excuse me, this opens down because of the negative out front. And so notice on this graph, we're going to have a maximum. Remember, the maximum value will be the y value at the vertex. So here we have a maximum value of 7 when x equals negative 3. So no matter what you plug into this function as an input, your output's never going to be bigger than 7. All right, so now we're ready to do a couple of word problems where we're really pretty much doing what we just did here. So let's look at number 2. It says a stone is thrown directly upward from a height of 30 feet with an initial velocity of 60 feet per second. The height of the stone in feet, t seconds after it's been thrown, is given by the function s of t equals negative 16t squared plus 60t plus 30. Now this information here is built into the formula. Notice it says the height of the stone, that's what we're given here, in feet, t seconds after it's been thrown. So t is time in seconds, and s of t is the height. Now if you look at this, this will be a parabola, this function, that opens down because of the negative 16 out front. And so you would expect to have a maximum, and in fact that's what they're asking for. Notice it says determine the time, so we have to find t, at which the stone reaches its maximum height, and also find the maximum height, that's s of t. Alright, so and s of t acts like a y value basically, or it is a y value. So again, we will find the maximum at the vertex. So we need the vertex formula. So anytime you have these minimum maximum problems, you're going to need the vertex formula. That's where you're going to find your minimum or maximum value. So here it's going to be 60 over negative 60, negative b, over 2 times a, which is negative 16. Get negative 60 over negative 32. And that's going to be 1.875. Now I used x here, but it's really a t value because our input is not x, it's t. And so it doesn't really matter to me what you're doing here, but just keep in mind this is actually t that we're finding here because that is our input. And now we need to plug it into the function. We need to find s of 1.875. So let's go ahead and plug that in. All right, and then when you plug that into your calculator, you should get 86.25. So notice our vertex is 1.875, comma 86.25. This is our t value, and this is our height, which we call s of t. So the stone will reach a maximum height of 86.25 feet. Notice we're dealing in feet here. After 1.875 seconds. So basically almost 2 seconds. Just about 2 seconds. All right, that's number 2. Got one more problem to do. It's another min-max problem. So we've talked about this function before. The profit is equal to the revenue minus the cost. And here we don't know what the profit function is, but we're going to be asked to find the maximum profit and the number of units that must be sold in order to yield the maximum profit. X is the number of units. And of course, P of X is your profit. So we're going to look for the maximum value of this profit function. Well, this is R of X minus C of X. And so that's going to be 20x minus 0.1x squared minus 4x plus 2. So we don't need the parentheses here. We can go ahead and drop them for the first binomial. But here we're going to have to distribute the negative. That negative is going to get distributed to both terms. It will be minus 5x minus 2. Notice these x terms, 20x and a minus 4x, we're going to get 16x. But let me go ahead and put the quadratic term first. Whoops, minus 0.1x squared minus 20x and minus 4x we said was 16x, but that's positive 16x, and then minus 2. So that's our profit function. Notice that function is going to open down, and so we would expect to have a maximum. That's where we're going to have our maximum profit at the vertex. So we need the vertex formula. It's going to be negative b over 2a. Notice our input is x, and we're going to have negative 16 over 2 times negative 0.1. And you should get 80 when you divide that. You're going to basically have negative 16 divided by negative 0.2, and you get 80. And so our vertex is 80, which is our x value. If we find P of 80, that'll give us our maximum profit. So let's go ahead and plug it in. And so again, you should plug that into your calculator. Let me just check, make sure everything right here, and you should get 638. That's your P of X, your profit. So when 80 units are sold, we have the maximum product or a profit of $638. So the maximum profit of $638 occurs when 80 units are sold. And I don't know who made up this problem, but you're not going to stay in business very long if you're creating 80 of something and your profit is just 638. You better have a lot of other things going on. Hopefully, if that's the maximum profit for the company, you have some problems. All right, we'll stop right there. That's it for this video.